So, good morning everyone. Our topic for today is about project integration management. So, after watching this lesson, you will be able to describe an overall framework for project integration management as it relates to the other project management knowledge areas and its project life cycle. Explain the strategic planning process and apply different project selection methods. Explain the importance of creating a project charter to formally initiate projects. Discuss the process of creating a preliminary project scope statement. Describe project management plan development, including content, using guidelines and templates for developing plans and performing a stakeholder analysis to help manage relationships. Explain project execution, each relationship to project planning, the factors related to successful results, and tools and techniques to assist in project execution. Describe the process of monitoring and controlling project work. Understand the integrated change control process, planning for managing changes on information technology projects, and developing and using a change control system. Explain the importance of developing and following good procedures for closing projects, and describe how software can assist in project integration. The key to overall project success, good project integration management, a project managers must coordinate all of the other knowledge areas throughout a project life cycle, so including the 7 knowledge areas. Okay? Many new project managers have trouble looking at the big picture and want to focus on too many details. So, project integration management is not the same thing as software integrations. Again, project integration management involves coordinating all of the other project management knowledge areas throughout a project life cycle. So, this integrations ensures that all the elements of the project come together at the right times to complete a project successfully. According to the PM book, 3rd edition, there are 7 main processes involved in project integration management. So, what we're going to do first is to develop the project charter. Then, develop the preliminary project scope statement and develop the project management plan. Direct and manage program execution. Monitor and control the project work in the sense that the output of this process are recommended corrective and preventive actions, forecast recommended deferred repair and requested changes. Perform integrated change control. So, at this time, these outputs or the output of this process include approved and rejected change request, approved corrective and preventive actions, approved and validated defect, repair, deliverables, and updates to the project management plan and project scope statement. Then close the project. So, outputs of this process include final products, services, or results, administrative and contrast closure procedures, and updates to organizational process assets. Uh, Many people consider project integration management the key to overall project success. Someone must take responsibility for coordinating all of the people, plans, and work required to complete a project. And sometimes, or someone must focus on the big picture of all the project and steer the project team towards successful completion. Someone must make the final decision when there are conflicts among project goals or people involved. And someone must communicate key project information to top management. This someone is the project manager, and the project manager's chief means for accomplishing all these tasks is project integration management. So again, the project integration management processes. So this will be the project manager's takes responsibility, coordinating all the people, plans, and work required to complete a project, focusing on the big picture and steering the project team towards successful completion, making the final decision when there are conflicts among project goals or people involved. So as a project manager, you are the one to collate all their ideas, all their comments, and as project manager, you are the one who make a final decisions for those ideas and conflicts or concern. Communicating key project information to top management. So if there is a case that you need to there are certain major changes, for example, in your project, the project manager also is so responsible for informing the top management. Good project integration management is critical to providing stakeholder satisfaction. Project integration management includes interface management. So, it involves identifying and managing the points of interaction between various elements of the project. The number of interfaces can increase exponentially as the number of people involved in a project increases. Yes, of course, because we have our own different expertise, no? Thus, one of the most important jobs of a project manager is to establish and maintain good communication and relationships across organizational interface. The project manager must communicate well with all project stakeholders, including customers, the project team, top management, other project managers, and opponents of the project. In addition to not understanding project integration management, we need to recall that project management is applying knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to meet project requirements while also meeting or exceeding stakeholder needs and expectations. So we have here a simple scenario, no? So the Airbus A380 Megajet project was 2 years behind schedule in October 2006, causing Airbus parent company to face an expected loss of 6.1 billion over the next 4 years. So imagine if you delayed a project or the submission of your project or the delivery of your project, thousands or billion of money, no? The project suffered from severe integration management problems or integration disintegration. So this will be the causes, no? Okay. So again, it is important for us to follow a standard process of managing projects can help prevent some of the typical problems new and experienced project manager face, including communicating with and managing stakeholders. Before organizations begin projects, however, they should go through a formal process to decide what projects to pursue. Successful leaders, no, look at the big picture or strategic plan of the organization to determine what types of projects will provide the most value. Therefore, project integration starts with identifying potential projects, using realistic methods to select which projects to work on, and then formalizing their initiation by issuing some sort of project charter. That's why it is very important for you to develop a project charter. The first step in project management is deciding what projects to do in the first place. Some may argue that project managers should not be involved in strategic planning and project selection because top management is usually responsible for this type of business decision. But successful organizations know what project managers can provide valuable insights into the project selection process. So as part of strategic planning, organizations, they need to identify potential projects, use realistic methods to select which projects to work on, and formalize project initiation by issuing a project charter. So, we have here the four-stage planning process for selecting information technology projects. We need to take note the hierarchical structure of this model and the result produced from each stage. The first step is in this process starting at the top of the hierarchy is to tie the information technology strategic plan to the organizational overall strategic plan. Again, strategic planning involves determining long-term objectives by analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of an organization, studying opportunities and threats in the business environment, predicting future trends, and projecting the need for new products and services. Many people are familiar with SWOT analysis, right? So, that is used to aid in strategic planning. It is very important actually to have managers from outside the information technology department assist in the information technology planning process, as they can help information technology personnel understand organizational strategies and identify the business areas that support them. So after identifying strategic goals, the next step in the planning process for selecting information technology projects is to perform a business area analysis. This analysis outlines business processes that are central to achieving strategic goals and helps determine which ones could most benefit from information technology. So then, the next step is to start defining potential information technology projects, their scope, benefits, and constraints. And the last step is the planning process for selecting information technology projects is choosing which projects to do and assigning resources for working on them. So, aligning information technology with business strategy is also important because aligning IT projects with business strategy is consistently the top concern for CIOs, no? It is often difficult to educate line managers on technology possibilities and limitations and keep IT professionals in tune with changing business needs. Most organizations face thousands of problems and opportunities for improvement. So therefore, an organization's strategic plan should guide the information technology project selection process. The best practices features that IT governance is also important in ensuring that IT support business goals, and IT governance helps organizations maximize their investment in IT and address IT-related risks and opportunities. An organization must develop a strategy for using information technology to define how it will support the organization's objective. And this information technology strategy must align with the organization's strategic plans and strategy. In fact, no, in research, shows that supporting explicit business objective is the number one reason cited for why organizations invest in information technology projects. Other top criteria for investing in IT projects include supporting implicit business objectives and providing financial incentives, such as a good internal rate of return or yung IRR or next present value or the NPV. Information system can be and open are central to business strategy. Okay? Actually, Porter, who developed the concept of the strategic value of competitive advantage, has written several books and articles on strategic planning and competitions. He and many other experts have emphasized the importance of using IT to support strategic plans and provide a competitive advantage. Many information systems are classified as strategic because they directly support key business strategies. So, the best practice. So, a product innovation technology strategy for the business. Research commitment and focus on the right projects are solid. Portfolio management. An effective, flexible, and streamlined idea to launch process and the right climate and culture for innovation through cross-functional teams, senior management commitment to NPD. Of course, NPD is new product development. So, method for selecting projects. Organization, Organizations identify many potential projects as part of their strategic planning processes and often rely on experienced project managers to help them make project selection decisions. However, organizations need to narrow down the list of potential projects to those projects that will be most benefit. Selecting project is not an exact science, but it is a necessary part of project management, and many methods exist for selecting from among possible projects. And this will be the five common actually techniques. no? So focusing on board organizational needs, categorizing in IT projects, performing net NPV or financial manage analysis, using a weighted scoring model, and implementing a balanced scorecard. So again, in practice, organizations usually use a combination of this approach to select projects. So each approach has advantages and disadvantages, and it is up to the management to decide the best approach for selecting project based on their particular organizations. So the top managers must focus on meeting their organization's many needs when deciding what projects to undertake, when to undertake them, and to what level. So projects that address broad organizational needs are much more likely to be successful because they will be important to the organizations. So for example, a broad organizational need might be to improve safety, increase morale, provide better communication, or improve customer service. However, it is often difficult to provide a strong justification for many information technology projects related to these broad organizational needs. So example, it is often impossible to estimate the financial value of such projects, but everyone agrees that they have or they do have a high value. As the old proverb says, it is better to measure gold roughly than to count pennies precisely. So, one method for selecting project based on broad organizational needs is to determine whether they first meet three important criteria. So, need, funding, and will. So, do people in the organization agree that the project needs to be done? Does the organization have the will and the capacity to provide adequate funds to perform the project? It is important actually. Is there a strong will to make the project succeed? So, for example, many visionary CEOs can describe a broad need to improve certain aspect of their organizations, such as communications. Although they cannot specifically describe how to improve communications, they might allocate funds to projects that address this need. So as project progress, the organization must reevaluate the need, funding, and will for each project to determine if the project should be continued, redefined, or terminated. Another method for selecting projects is based on various categorizations such as the impetus for the project, but time window for the project, and the general priority for the project. The impetus for a project is open to respond to a problem, an opportunity, or a directive. So a problem is an undesirable situation that prevents an organization from achieving its goal. Systems low, needs upgrades. This problem can be current or anticipated. Okay? So opportunities are chances to improve the organizations. So for example, the project described in the opening case involves creating a new product that can make or break the entire company. In the directive, are new requirements imposed by management, government, or some external influence. So for example, many projects involving medical technologies must meet rigorous government requirements. Organizations select project for any of these reasons. So it is often easier to get approval and funding for project that addresses problems or directives because the organization must respond to these categories of projects to avoid hurting their business. Many problems and directives must be resolved quickly, but managers must also apply system thinking and seek opportunities for improving the organization through IT projects. And another categorization for IT project is based on the time it will take to complete a project or the date by which it must be done. No? So, for example, Some potential projects must be finished within a specific time window. If they cannot be finished by the set date, they are no longer valid projects. So some projects can be completed very quickly, within a few weeks, days, or even minutes. Many organizations have an end-user support functions to handle very small projects that can be completed quickly. Even though many information technology projects can be completed quickly, it is still important to prioritize them. Because many organizations prioritize IT projects as being high, medium, or low priority based on the current business environment. So, financial considerations are often an important aspect of the project selection process, especially during tough economic times. Okay, projects are never ends in themselves. Financially, they are always a mean to an end cash. Many organizations require an approved business case before pursuing projects, and financial projections are critical component of the business case. The three primary methods for determining the projected financial value of projects include net present value analysis, return on investment, and payback analysis. Because project managers often deal with business executive, and they must understand how to speak their language, which often boils down to these important financial concepts. Everyone knows that a dollar earned today is worth more than a dollar earned 5 years from now. So, NPV or net present value is a method of calculating the expected net monetary gain or loss from a project by discounting all expected future cash inflows and outflows to the present point in time. So, an organization should consider only projects with a positive NPV if financial value is a key criterion for project selection. This is because a positive NPV means the return from a project exceeds the cost of capital and the returns available by investing the capital elsewhere. Projects with higher NPVs are preferred to projects with lower NPVs if all other factors are equal. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the higher the NPV, the better. Again, so NPV is analysis in a method of calculating the expected net monetary gain or loss from project by discounting all expected future cash inflows, outflows to their present point in time. So the net present value analysis, of course, NPV is the difference between the present value of cash inflows and the present value of cash outflows. So I have here an example about retail clothing business who want to purchase an existing store. So this will be the net present value analysis, the formula. And of course, it's a legend. So for example, T is the time of the cash flow and is the total time of the project and so on. So we have here an example of a time and expected cash flows as what we have here. And as you can see here, 3,465.11 total present value in the discount rate of 6%. Dollar, no US dollar. So this figure, no, illustrate two different projects. So we need to take note that this example start discounting right away in year 1 and uses a 10% discount rate. So you can use the NPV functions in Microsoft Excel actually to calculate the NPV quickly. So detailed steps on performing this calculation manually are provided no later. So you need to take note that this figure lists the projected benefits first followed by the cost and then the calculated cash flow amount. So the sum of the cash flow, benefits minus cost or income minus expenses, is the same for both projects at 5,000 US dollar. The net present values are different, however, because they account for the time value of money. So project 1 had a negative cash flow of $5,000 in the first year, while project 2 had a negative cash flow of only $1,000 in the first year. So although both projects had the same total cash flows without discounting, these cash flows are not of comparable financial value. So project 2 NPVs is $3,201 is better than project 1 NPVs of 2,316. NPV analysis therefore is a method for making equal comparison between cash flows for multi-layer projects. There are some items to consider when calculating NPVs. No? Some organizations refer to the investment years for project cost as year 0 instead of year 1 and do not discount cost in year 0. So other organizations start discounting immediately based on their financial procedures. It's simply a matter of preference for the organizations. So now, the discount rate can do also vary, often based on the prime rate and other economic conditions or considerations. You can enter cost as a negative numbers instead of positive numbers, and you can list cost first and then benefits. So on our given figure, it shows the financial calculation JWD Consulting provided in the business case for the project management intranet site project. So, note that the discount rate is 8%, benefits are listed first, and costs are entered as positive numbers. So, NPV and other calculations are still the same, only the format is different. A project manager must be sure to check with his or her organizations to find out its guideline for when discounting starts, what discount rate to use, and what format the organization prefers. So, to determine the NPV, follow these steps, okay? So, determine the estimated cost and benefits for the life of the project and the project is produces. So, example, JWD Consulting assume the project would produce a system in about 6 months that would be used for 3 years. So, costs are included year 0 when the system is developed and ongoing system costs and projected benefits are included for years 1, 2, and 3. Determining the discount rate. So, a discount rate is the rate used in discounting future cash flow. It is also called the capitalization rate or opportunity cost of capital. Then, calculate the NPV. So, there are several ways to calculate NPV. Most spreadsheet software has a built-in functions to calculate NPV. So, the mathematical formula for calculating NPV, of course, we presented it already late a while ago. Another important financial consideration is return on investment because ROI is the result of subtracting the project cost from the benefits and then dividing by the cost. So, for example, if you invest 1,000 or $100 today and next year it is worth 110, your ROI is 110 minus 100. So, by 0.1 or 10%. We need to take note that the ROI is always a percentage. No, it can be positive or negative. It is best to consider discounted costs and benefits for multi-year projects when calculating ROI. So the higher the IOI, the better, of course. So as what we have here, an ROI of 112% is outstanding. So many organizations have a required rate to return per projects. The required rate of return is the minimum acceptable rate for return on the investment. Then the organization bases the required rate of return on what it could expect to receive elsewhere for an investment of comparable risk. And you can also determine a project's internal rate of return by finding what discount rate results in the NPV of 0 for the projects. And you can also the goal seek function in Excel to determine the IRR quickly. Simply set the cell containing the NPV calculation to 0 while changing the cell containing the discount rate. Many organizations use ROI in project selection process. Actually, the Magazine Information Week asked 200 IT and business professional how often they measure formal ROI for IT investment. The poll found that 41% of organizations required ROI calculation for all IT investment and 59% required it for specific initiatives. So this will be the internal rate of return or IRR. So it is an indicator of an efficiency of an investment as opposed to NPV, which indicates value or magnitude. So in mathematically, the IRR is defined as any discount rate that result is an NPV of 0 of a series of cash flow. So this will be the formula and sample computations for you to get the NPV. Now, payback analysis is another important financial tool to use when selecting projects. No? Payback period is the amount of time it will take to recap in the form of net cash inflows, the total dollars invested in a project. So in other words, payback analysis determines how much time will lapse before accrued benefits overtake accrued and continuing cost. Payback occurs when the net cumulative benefits equals the net cumulative cost, or when the net cumulative benefits minus cost equals 0. So this will be the charting the payback period. So many organizations have certain recommendation for the length of the payback period of an investment. So they might require all information technology projects to have a payback period of less than 2 years or even 1 year regardless of the estimated NPV or ROI. So the company also tries to limit project teams to no more than 12 people doing a job within 4 months. So, giving the economic climate and rapid pace of change in businesses and technology. So, the company has to focus on delivering positive financial results quickly. However, organization must also consider long-range goals when making technology investment. So, a weighted scoring model is a tool that provides a systematic process for selecting project based on any criteria. And this criteria can include factors such as meeting broad organizational needs, addressing problems, opportunities, or directives, the amount of time it will take to complete the project, the overall priority of the project, and projected financial performance of the project. The first step in creating weighted scoring model is to identify criteria important to the project selection process. Uh, it often takes time actually to develop and reach agreement on this criteria. So, holding facilitated brainstorming sessions or using groupware to exchange ideas can aid in developing this criteria. Some possible criteria for information technology projects include support, strong internal sponsor, strong customer support, assign weights, criterion, assign scores, multiply the scores. So, next, you assign a weight to each criterion. Once again, determining weights, required consultation, and final agreement. So, these weights indicate how much your value each criterion on how important each criterion is. And you can assign weights based on percentages. And the sum of all the criteria's weight must total 100%. You then assign numerical score to each criterion. Okay? So, for each project. So, the score indicates how much each project meets each criterion. So, you can use a spreadsheet application to create a matrix of projects, criteria, weights, and scores. So, as what we have here, this will be an example. You calculate the weighted score for project 1 as stated earlier, as discussed earlier. We note that in this example, project 2 would be the obvious choice for selection because it has the highest weighted score. So creating a bar chart to graph the weighted score for each project allows you to see the results at a glance. So if you create the weighted scoring model in a spreadsheet, you can enter the data, create and copy formulas and perform a what if analysis. Okay? So in implementing a balanced scorecard is a methodology that converts an organization value drivers such as customer service, innovation, operational efficiency, and financial performance to a series of defined metrics. Organizations record and analyze these metrics to determine how will projects helps them achieve strategic goals. Okay, so using a balanced scorecard involves several detailed steps, and you can learn more about how balanced scorecard work on the balanced scorecard, no, and other sources. Although this concept can work within an information technology department specifically, it is best to implement a balanced scorecard throughout an organization because it helps foster alignment between business and information technology. Okay, so again, the balanced scorecard is a strategic planning and management system that is used extensively in business and industry, government, and non-profit organizations worldwide for or to align business activities to the vision and strategy of the organizations, improve internal external communication, and monitor organizational performance against strategic goals. It can help also your organization by translating high-level organizational strategy into something that employees can understand and act upon in their day-to-day operations initiatives. So, an effective implemented balance scorecard can help an organization in many ways. So, this will be the benefits in using balance scorecard. So, the balance scorecard suggests that we view the organization from four perspectives. So, and develop metrics, collect data, and analyze it relative to each of these perspectives. So, as you can see here, organization can use many approaches used to select projects, and many project managers have some say in which project their organization select for implementation. Even if they do not know, they need to understand the motives and overall business strategies for the projects they are managing. Because project managers and team members are often called upon to explain the importance of their projects, and understanding many of these project selection methods can help them represent the project effectively. Thank you very much. So this will be the end of our part 1. So the continuation is related to, is all about project charter.